Hello, thank you for watching my presentation, Obesity in Adult Mexican Americans, by Christina Wright. Around the world, the rates of obesity are rising dramatically, having almost doubled from 1980 to an outstanding 1.9 billion adults who are overweight and 600 million who struggle with obesity as of 2014, according to the World Obesity 2015 report. The focus of this presentation is to explore the rates and risks for obesity in the Mexican American population and how various cultural health beliefs and practices contribute to the incidence of adult obesity, with the assessment of current cultural health programs in place for addressing these issues with thoughts towards the future for improving the health of Mexican Americans in the United States. In the United States, Mexican Americans comprise 18% of the population according to the State of Obesity Summary Report. Within the United States, approximately one-third of adults are obese, with 42.5% of the Hispanic population contributing to these rates of obesity according to Ogden et al. 2014, and have a higher risk of being overweight or obese compared to the white population. One of the contributing factors that leads to obesity is the economic instability of the Mexican American family, with 23% of Latino families living below the poverty line. Poverty in itself tends to perpetuate poor eating and exercise habits and leads to more health complications due to lack of health care. In the United States, Mexican Americans have disproportionately high prevalence of conditions and risk factors that contribute to poor health status, including but not limited to asthma, obesity, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, and HIV/AIDS, according to data from the Centers for Disease Control 2011. As of 2014, the leading causes of mortality for the Hispanic population reported by deaths per 100,000 were major cardiovascular diseases, cancer, unintentional injuries, stroke, and diabetes mellitus, according to the CDC 2016. Many of the mortalities and morbidities in the Mexican American population are directly related to behaviors such as acculturation, diet and exercise patterns, as well as family structure and societal norms. Language is one of the largest barriers to healthcare in the Mexican American population. Approximately 62% of the U.S. population speaks Spanish at home, with 43% of the Spanish-speaking population reporting they speak English less than, quote, very well, according to the 2009 to 2013 U.S. Census report. Within the medical field, the language barrier can be problematic in providing medical care when medical terminology may not be clearly understood, or, in essence of time, a Spanish interpreter may not be used, according to Rice 2014 and Shapira et al. 2008. Due to these language barriers, Mexican Americans tend to feel less understood and listened by their doctors compared to white Americans and African Americans, and are less likely to ask questions in a visit with a healthcare practitioner, according to Betancourt 2000 and Mead et al. 2008. Another barrier to healthcare is the lack of health insurance, with approximately half of the Latino population reporting being uninsured in the previous year, according to the U.S. Census 2013. The lack of financial stability does not allow the average Mexican American the ability to pay for the healthcare needed, and can thus promote more uses of traditional medicines which may be cheaper, or the use of emergency medical rooms. The Mexican American population also tends to be less educated when compared to the U.S. population for those who do not have a high school diploma, 45.2% and 15% respectively, or bachelor's degrees, 6.5% compared to 17.5% respectively. State of Obesity 2014. The lack of education can hinder the ability of Mexican Americans to understand the information provided verbally or in writing from a medical practitioner, as well as lends to poor compliance with behavior and health modifications. Due to the lack of income previously discussed, Mexican Americans tend to live in more impoverished areas, which often lack supermarkets, chain grocery stores, and healthy foods, with most purchases from fast food restaurants or convenience stores, which sell more energy-dense rather than nutritionally dense foods, according to Larson Story and Nelson 2009, thereby contributing to obesity in the community. There are many components that influence one's cultural belief systems, and these are only briefly touched upon in this presentation. Religion and spirituality play an important role in the health of Hispanics in the United States. with the majority of Mexican Americans self-identifying themselves as Catholic, according to DNASCO 2014. Several studies also reveal that many Mexican Americans have fatalistic views and believe their health problems are God's will or a punishment for sinful behaviors, and may not take ownership of their health problems, which could be a result of their own personal health behaviors. In the traditional Mexican American culture, familialism, or the valuing of family considerations over individual or community needs, according to Medina, is key to understanding and developing appropriate medical care for the patient, as medical decisions are often made together as a family rather than by the individual. Oftentimes, the father or husband makes the final health decision due to the patriarchal nature of the Mexican American household. Therefore, when discussing medical issues with a family, it is important to involve the entire family as both a resource and a focus for the healthcare intervention. Additionally, the Mexican American and Hispanic population also highly value respect and trust when developing relationships, particularly when working with healthcare providers. This is often established by having a casual conversation before discussing the medical issue at hand, and offers the opportunity for the healthcare provider to be more personal with the patient or family, which displays personalismo, or a display of mutual respect. Acculturation also heavily influences the Mexican American diet, as the general Mexican diet is generally nutritionally complete. However, newly arrived immigrants tend to choose, quote, high-fat products, lard, processed foods, and large amounts of sugar, refined flour, and other hydrogenated fats, according to Romero Gwynn et al., 1993. Additionally, research indicates Mexican American adults consume approximately 22.3% of their energy intake from sugar-sweetened beverages, fruit juices, and alcohol, according to Becerra 2008. Additionally, according to Ramirez and Thompson 2005, adult Latinos have one of the highest rates for sedentary lifestyles, 46%. The excess calories in sedentary lifestyles thereby increase the incidence of obesity, warranting a serious need for health education programs in this population. Community engagement is essential to developing appropriate health education programs, which is evident by the success rates of studies that utilize promotores, according to Perez et al. 2013. Promotores are defined as individuals that are similar to the target population and are able to identify with the community norms and culture that may influence health, as well as establish trust and credibility, according to Perez et al. In a culture where trust is highly important and developed over a long period of time, with a preference for not rushing matters, according to Medina, and the large focus on communication and developing interpersonal relationships, Smith 2000, long-term initiatives may be a better strategy for maintaining change within the Mexican American community using the empowerment paradigm. Once there is more collaboration in a community where there is a feeling of ownership, programs can become more sustainable and have a long-term focus, which may lead to more commitment from participants, thereby increasing compliance with health programs and recommended guidelines. A proposed solution for providing health education targeting obesity in the Mexican American population would be to establish a health education program entitled Salud y Tú, based out of a church, since religion is important to this population, and they already have faith and trust in the institution itself, which might lend to a higher recruitment of participants as well as promotores. This program could be advertised within the church, but also on the radio and television, which are widely listened to by the Mexican American population, and is a proven method of communication for this population, according to Sounder Up 2000. Local events such as health fairs, including cooking demonstrations, exercise classes, and health screenings, could be co-hosted in collaboration with the Salud y Tú program, and national organizations such as the American Diabetes and American Heart Associations to better utilize the already existing resources available within the community and further expand on the importance of health as it relates to disease. Lastly, as the level of community awareness increases, there can be further expansions on the program and changes within the community itself. There may be better awareness and recognition of further needs in the community to sustain health behavior changes identified in conversations between the promotores and individuals in the community. For example, the community members may recognize the need to walk more often, but don't have sidewalks, and may advocate for the development of sidewalks in their community. By providing opportunities for the community to provide their input and select community-specific goals that match an organization's goals, it can increase the level of interest and motivation of participants to continue in a given program. As the level of awareness and education increases in the community, individuals can also take on leadership roles and campaign for change to build an environment that can sustain and promote healthy behaviors to prevent and manage obesity in Mexican American adults. Here are my photo credits and my references for this presentation. Thank you for attending.